Okay, so today we're going to talk about basically block theme development. Uh, let's refresh this page. Okay, and is anyone familiar with block themes or full site editing? Has anyone heard of that in WordPress?
Yes.
Um, I haven't actually. I'm very new to WordPress.
Okay, that's fine. Have you used WordPress before? Have you at least tried to?
No,
Okay, okay, that's fine.
but I
What
really
about?
want to actually
Mhm,
because the other day I was talking with Muhammad sir. So
mhm,
he also said that there are a lot of opening for React plus WordPress. So
mhm.
that's the reason I really want to. So
Okay.
I have. I'm preparing for interviews. So I had in my plan
Mhm.
to learn WordPress as well, at least the basic. So this
Okay.
will be a good start for me.
Okay, that's good. What about you, Fazil?
I just tried to create a canvas in the WordPress for the first time. So
Oh,
after that,
nice.
I didn't work on it.
Okay, that's fine. Unfortunately, this session won't be about React. It'll basically be about the full site editing in WordPress. Somebody wants to join the call. Let me admit them. Okay. But for people who are new in WordPress, I just wanted to first of all share my screen and just give you a brief overview. It won't be actually a in-depth WordPress tutorial, but just to begin with. Okay, so this is basically a WordPress dashboard. So WordPress is basically a content management system. Of course, it can do more than that. Also, you can actually have an entire store set up with the WooCommerce plugin where you can sell your products to the customers, integrate payment gateways. You can even use it as a headless CMS where you can manage all the contents from the dashboard that you're seeing at. You can create your posts, pages, and then front end can be in a different tech stack altogether, like React or Vue. But here, the example that I'm showing you, I'm currently logged into the WordPress dashboard. As you can see, we have content over here. You have posts. You can add posts from this. You have nice editor. You can have different blocks, heading paragraphs. You can add images as well. So there's so many things you can do basically to create content, and that thing will be showing on the front end. You can manage your media. This is where all your images, your other files like videos will stay. And this is for your pages. Yeah, one more person. People can comment on your post. You can either decline or approve. Then you have certain sections called users. You can have multiple users on WordPress, wherein people can actually write post, and each user can have a different privilege. Some user you can give them access only to write post. Other users can be people who can approve those posts. So people can be admin, people can be editors, or there's some people can only be authors. So all those functionalities are there. In the WordPress ecosystem, since it's an open source uh, software, and the best part is that you own your data. So it's not like unlike some of the other third-party companies. After 10 years, they're not gonna. If you want to move to another provider, then you can switch because you own the data. This section right here is a theme section. So how your content is going to look like in the front end depends on what theme is active. So how you have on your mobile, you have different wallpapers or different kind of themes you can select, and based on that the same content will appear differently. So that's the same concept here. You can see these are different themes. Depending on which one you activate, the same content will appear differently. Then you have something called plugins. As the word says, plug in. You can plug in any feature, you can plug out any feature. So let's say some people want to create their WordPress site to sell products. They can download a plugin called WooCommerce, and WooCommerce basically allows them to. Of course, you have to add it here. WooCommerce allows them to create their store, online store, basically. So this is the plugin to do that. Anyways, now that's a brief overview about WordPress for those who are new. But now the topic for today is block theme development. Initially, WordPress started with a classic editor where you didn't have the concept of blocks. Everything was like like a tiny mice editor where you had to put all the paragraphs, the headings, the images, everything in one block and one section, basically one editor. But here you have multiple block systems. So if you go ahead and click the plus sign, you can see you have paragraphs, headings, code blocks, images, gallery, audio, so different block system. So think of this like a Lego, wherein you can build the entire page with small blocks. Okay, so you can stitch it together, you can move them around and all those sort of things. Now, initially, like after some time, WordPress moved from that classic editor to the block concept. And initially, it only had the block concept editors for the content. The headers and footers were still using the old concept of templating, wherein you had to hard code the HTML, CSS for that. And, it was not very easy to change the layout. But then the concept of full site editing came in, wherein everything is a block, including the headers and footers of your site. And now things are flexible, and things are more, basically user has more control. And people who don't have knowledge of HTML, CSS much, they can also build the block themes right from the editor. So with that thought in mind, let's begin. So since it's for your first time, I'm going to show you an easy way of creating the block themes. Just 1 second. So there is a plugin called Create Block Theme. So this plugin basically is a free plugin on WordPress.org that you can download. Either you can download it from here and you can upload the plugin over here, or you can directly search for this plugin in the Add Plugin section. And let's start with here, Create Block Theme. And you can activate it from here. As you can see, I've already installed and activated. That's why it's already showing under my plugin section. This helps you generate a theme. And now, once you do that, under the appearance where your theme lives, it creates a separate setting that's called Create Block Theme. Once you click on that, then you have certain options. You can either convert your existing classic editor theme into a block theme, because remember I told you that earlier themes were classic, they didn't have the concept of blocks. Everything was like a tiny mice editor. But now, you can create block themes. So you can convert them, you can export them, or you can create completely a new one, or you can clone your existing theme, or even child of that into a blank theme. Well, for the purposes of this video, we'll start with creating a new blank theme. We'll give it a name. So my block theme, you can name it whatever you want and give it a description. This is blogging, and give it your name as author. Create and activate that theme. Oh, theme already exists. 1 second. Might have created that already. Okay, we can give it a different name. That's fine. We can give it like Cospedal. Okay, so as you can see, it's created successfully. And by default, it has created some of the templates some of the parts, etc. The first thing we're going to do is basically export it. So let's go there a second. So if you go to Appearance Editor, you can see that this is your theme. And here you have an option to download this theme. So I'm going to export it. It's created cost pedal. And I'm just going to copy this into my code. So I'm using WP-ENV. This is not a tutorial to show you how to set up the project. Maybe we'll do that in another video. But just to let you know, we are using WP-ENV, which is basically a package that allows us to install and set up our WordPress environment, and it uses Docker behind the scene. It needs a JSON configuration here where you can basically tell what are the plugins that you're going to use and work on. Of course, there are other plugins also, but if you're not going to be editing them, there's no need to mention over there. That can stay in the file system, but you don't really need to include that in the JSON file. So I'm going to I already have another theme called Aquila, so this will be cost pedal. Hopefully that's the name. Yeah.
Now, why do you have multiple themes under themes? What does that mean?
You can have multiple themes, but you can activate whichever you want. So I was working on the Aquila theme project earlier. That is why I have theme. But if I want to switch to the different theme, I can do that. But I need to tell it that, if you want this to be synced with the file system, then you need to mention it here. Otherwise, if you make any changes here, it won't reflect on the WordPress dashboard.
Okay, and what is this project? Is that a plugin or theme or something else?
This is a WordPress install, basically. You can think of like that. Currently, this only has plugins and themes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you have plugins, you have themes. So this is WP content, right?
Yeah, this is WP content, correct.
Okay. So now WP content picks up WP environment.json. I'm asking because I haven't seen WordPress for the past 2-3 years. So
That's okay. That's okay.
WP env.json. So WordPress automatically picks up from this file.
Yes. So this is the configuration for for syncing the file system. So everything is behind the scene. It's into the Docker file system. But if you want to make any changes to the file, basically the ones that you're actually be working on, you need to define it here so that it syncs with it.
Got it.
So and it needs to have the WP in JSON file at the root of it, and then you need to first destroy the previous session because I've made some changes. So I'm just going to destroy the previous session, and then I'll restart the new session. So while it's doing its thing, I can just give you a brief summary of WP env.
For beginners, they could just use what is that called for installing WordPress?
Yeah, MAMP and XAMPP you can use.
No, not exam. There's one more thing. Even in exam, I'm sorry, exam, it requires some effort. I think Mohammed was trying that last weekend. Mohammed, what did you use?
Local.
Local, yes.
Okay.
So local is the easiest thing to install WordPress nowadays. In fact, for the past couple of years, I think.
Sure. You can choose whichever platform you want, but I'm going with the recommended or suggested way by WordPress developer.org because it lets you set up the local environment for basically building and testing plugins and themes. And it's very easy. You don't really need any configuration at all. All you have to do is just to globally you have to install WordPress environment package, and then you need to go to your project, make sure it has basically the WP content, make sure it has the WPNV the WPNV JSON file at the root level, and just give it this configuration of wherever your plugin and themes exist. If it doesn't have any plugin that you want to work on, you can even remove this, no problem. So whatever you want to work on, just mention over here, and then you can just do WP-env start. If you made any changes to, like if you installed a new theme, like a new folder, then you just need to restart to make sure it respects that and it is available to sync. And then automatically it makes it available at this URL. So now, as you can see, I just started it. So previously it had pulled up Docker images because I was doing it the first time, but second time it's faster. And as you can see that it's already listening at this port. And there's also a test site that started at this port. So currently you can actually go and log in on that port. And you can go to the WP admin. And by default, the password is admin, and the username is admin for that. And you can just log in. So that's of course, you can do a lot more settings. You can have all the information here of whatever you want to change and stuff. You can go through the documentation. So I'll just pass that on the chat. Okay, so coming back to what we were discussing about the block themes. So now what I've done is under themes, as you can see, I downloaded the Cospedal theme, and this is what it's given me. Now, what are all these files? So in WordPress theme, you need your style.css. So you can also write this from scratch, but since we have less time, I'm showing you like it's already done. Basically, you need to have a theme name. So I'll show you where all of this information is going to show. So if you go to appearance, and then if you go to this is the theme. I've not activated it yet. So this is the name. So it picks up from here. Theme URI, if you give, it'll appear over here. But since I'm not given any URI at the moment, then author name, author URI, then description. So this is a blogging theme. So all that information that you basically have over here is going to appear in this section, which is more details about that theme. Okay. Text domain is actually used for translation, which probably we'll cover in another session. So that's basically what remains in style.css. You can have all the styles related to your theme inside of this file only, but it is recommended that you don't put it here. There are other ways to do it. Like, for example, there's a whole theme.json concept where you can define all your style settings here, which we will talk about in a moment. Right now, I'm already giving you the overview of these files. I'll get into the detail a little bit later. Then you have the screenshot PNG, which is basically what's going to show over here under the theme section. This PNG that you're seeing, this image, the screenshot that you're seeing is coming from here. So if you change this, this will also change. You have readme text, which is a little bit more information about the theme. This basically shows in case if you are, let's say, publishing the theme on WordPress.org, it's going to appear on the theme page. Then you have something called templates. So WordPress expects to have at least index.html file and a style.css file. The concept of functions.php is gone. Earlier, we used to have functions.php also. But right now, you don't really need it. If you're going to write some functions, then you can create function.php. But otherwise, you can just go with this minimal setup.
This is a common interview question, that what are the minimum files required to create a WordPress theme?
Correct.
What is it? What is the answer now?
Index.html and style.css.
Okay.
Okay. So on earlier index, remember index.php used to stay in the root, but that's no longer the case now. It needs to be inside of the templates index.html.
Nice.
Okay. So This is the template. Template you can think of as like template for a page. Now, in a blogging site, what are the templates there can be? They can be like index page, which is basically on your home page, or which is the page that's going to be by default used for all the pages if they don't have a specific template. They can be a blog page, which will probably have a separate layout. They can be a front page. Maybe you want visitors to have a separate kind of front page when they land onto your site. So those are the kind of things you can think of as templates. Now, next is the parts. Parts is basically small chunks of, you can think of like small group of components that are reused on the site. For example, header. Now, if I put header over here, if I create another template, let's say blog.html, then I will have to repeat that HTML file, HTML chunk on every page. And if tomorrow, if you want to make a change to that header component, then I'll have to go and do that on each and every template. So to make it easier, we have something called parts. And then all you have to do is once you create this header part, then you can just include that like this. So this is basically the comment of WordPress, comment delimiter. WordPress reads all this information. This is not something that will be rendered. You will still be able to see that on the front end. So if I activate this theme right now, and if I go to the front page and if I inspect element, oops. So right now you can see those things are basically not being rendered. Okay. And this is basically for the WordPress to read information about that template, like what is the slug of that template, what is the tag name. So all that information WordPress picks up from the comments basically. Now, similarly, you have the footer also. Now that is again included at the bottom here, WP template part. I'll show you visually how that looks like. So if you go to dashboard, appearance and editor, okay. This is where you have the templates. And if you click on the templates here, you can see that this is the header template. This is the footer template, okay. And this is your main content. And if you want to see the structure of it, you right click on these three dots and you click on the code editor. You can see this is exactly the index.html that we have here. We have the template part, we have the group, exactly the same thing. Okay, so I'll go to the visual editor, and if you look at this header, code editor, okay, that's not showing here. Sorry. Now, what if you want to create a new part? So if you want to create a new part, right now you can see the header and the footer is only the one that's showing currently. But if you want to create a new one, you can click on the add pattern, and then you can click on this add template part. So let's say I want some of the pages to have a different type of header, because it's sometimes there's a requirement from the client that I want certain pages, which are the advertising pages, to have a different type of header or a footer. So I can do that here. I can create a new template part. I can maybe name it as header secondary. Now, which section do you want to add it? So if you see on the left-hand side, there are different sections available, different areas available, right? So I think general is where it goes to all template parts. Then you have the header and the footer. So since this is related to the header, I'm creating a different type of header. I'll select this. I'll add that here. Okay, now side by side, I also want to keep showing the theme.json. So theme.json is basically the setting of the full site editing site, where it can be different types of setting. There could be colors, fonts, spacing, font family. There could be the template part setting. So notice currently we only have these two areas, header and the footer, and that is the information coming from where we were seeing these things, right? So that is the setting for that. Okay, so coming back to the header secondary. Okay. Oops. Template part. I think it's picking up. Is the theme active? Just 1 second. Yeah. Editor. Ah, that's why it was showing that way. Okay, understood. Let me delete the duplicate. Okay, so what's happening is that I have turned on the core editor. That's why it's looking like this. So you need to be on the visual editor for this to work. Okay, so this is your secondary type of header. Best practice to put things in group when you begin. So I'm going to create a group block. Group block is basically a container of multiple blocks. So you can choose any pattern over here. In case if you think they're going to be a 2-column layout, you can choose this. Or if they're going to be 2-column horizontal, you can choose this, or 4 for this, for a grid. So I'll go with this approach for now. Okay, and here I will go ahead and add the site title. So there's already a block. WordPress, like in the core itself, it comes with certain blocks which are usually used on different sites. So this block is already available. When you click on that, it's basically is going to give you the site title, okay, of the WordPress. Then add after. There are more blocks available. Site tagline. You can write any tagline like this is the WordPress blogging site. And you can maybe give your site name, in my case, Coretech. You can also add menus and stuff. So I can do, first of all, a spacer block. You can add how much space you want here. And then you can have a menu block also. Navigation is called navigation. So you can add multiple pages or post links over here. I'll add hello world. So there are 2 links here for me. You can also change the colors of these. So if you go to this side and you click on this section, you can see that these are the different colors available. You can add a background color. So I'm going to add a background color, let's say black, and text color of white. And I can give some padding. So a little bit of padding on top. I can see a little bit of padding there. And then I can save. Now these settings that you're seeing is extra settings are actually coming from the again theme JSON. You can see this appearance tool true, right? If I set that to false, you're not going to see that over here. So if I refresh, you see that those things are gone. If I go to the style again, you can see those extra settings are gone. So this appearance tool is actually responsible for basically those extra style settings that you had. Now those are back. Now, if you want to know how to get more information about these settings, you can actually go to the different the fullsiteediting.com website. There are lessons about global style theme JSON, and this has clearly explained what are different settings that are available for the theme JSON. like you have version, then you have the setting for block level or global level. You have settings for the color palette, what colors are going to be used for gradients. Then you have the typography if you want to use a specific font family. So currently, this is the font family being used, Apple system, and then all the fallbacks are there. You can change the font family of your site from here. Okay, then you have font sizes. What are different options for the font sizes to be selected? Those information will be there. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'm going to save this. Now that I've created it, I've saved it. But the problem is once you save it, you'll notice it's not going to be automatically available in your code, right? It is there available onto the WordPress dashboard, but it's not there in your code. And the reason for that is because WordPress saves this template into the database, but database is not linked to your code. Just because it's there in database doesn't mean it's going to be available in your code. So you need to copy this basically. So what you can do, either you can download the theme again with export and just replace your theme, which I feel I won't do that because I might have made some changes into the other files. That you can do only the first time. But if it's the second time, I'll just click on the code editor. I'll copy it and I'll create a part. I will call it header-secondary.html, and I'll just paste it here. Okay. So these are all classes added by WordPress. So that's how WordPress handles the styling for this. And these are the comments for WordPress to understand what all features this particular part has. Like it has a background color of black, it has a text color of white. So all those information is also present there. And WP group is basically because we wrapped it inside of a group block. Then site tagline. This is for the block that we used, the site tagline. So if you check here, under the group, we use site title. Then we use site tagline, which is this. Site title is here. The formatting is not perfect, but you can understand it's here. Spacer block. So this is for spacer. Then you have navigation block. So this is navigation. Okay, so that's how it's there. And then if you go back under header, you can see now you have two types of headers, header secondary and header primary. On different pages, by default, this is going to be used. But if you want to use a different header on a different template, you can do that. The last part of this call, I'll show you how to create a template. We already have a one-page template, which is index, which is basically going to be used as a default template for all kind of pages. But now I'll show you how to create another template. So let's say for posts, for articles, I want to have a different template. So you can do that from here. And then once you click on add template, it gives you options what type of template is going to be. Is it going to be a page? Is it going to be a post? So I'll select post because this is going to be a single post. And then it says you want to use a pre-default pattern. I'm going to say no. I'll just skip. I'll want to create my own pattern for this. So I'll skip. Now it's saying the first thing we'll do is we'll add a group block as a best practice. Then under this, I'm going to add my header. So I already have a header template. Let's use a header secondary this time in this page template. So it looks a little bit different. The group block, I'll give it a full width so that wide width. Content width. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to add the footer. And after footer. And then I'm going to add another block in between this. This is where the content will be stored. Like if somebody wants to write a blog, this is where content will be written. Okay. That's saved. Now if I go to dashboard. So right now you're saying on the home page, you're just using a default template. But if I go to posts, and this is already a written post, hello world, doesn't have much, but it's written, and then you can click on view. Now you can see it's actually using the other template we built, which is the secondary type of page. So for home page, it's going to use the default one, and for the post template we created, a single post template is going to use our secondary header. So you can choose which one you want to use. Again, code is, as you can see, code is not present. So what I'm going to do is I'll go back to the editor, go to the templates, single posts, and I'm going to go to code editor, and I'm going to copy this, and I'll create something called, just take a look at the hierarchy. So this is the WordPress hierarchy, wherein WordPress decides with this particular map as to what file is going to be rendered. So in our case, it's going to be a single page, and its type is post. So it's going to follow this rule. It'll look for first these types of files. If they are not present, it'll come here, and then it's going to finally render the index.php if it's not present. So let's create a single.php. So it basically picks up that. Sorry, single.html. Paste them. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I don't want to give too much information. I'll open the room for any questions if you may have.
Actually, I didn't understand the last part. Like
Okay.
you were showing something.
This part, the hierarchy.
Single, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So WordPress under the templating system, it wants us to use set names for different types of files. Okay. So let's say that I'm just going to go to my website. Let's say this is the blogging website. Okay. This is the home page. So by default, now there are different pages. There's contact, there's blog page, there's about page, right? There's also built in WordPress. So different pages available. Now, if you only had one template available, index, WordPress doesn't have a choice. Whichever page you go, it's just going to use the same template, right? But my layout for different pages might be different, right? So how do I basically choose a different layout? Because I can't use the same template for everything. Client will say, you know, I want my blog page to look something different. Correct? Or maybe take a look at another website. Sources, what we do, our work. Let's see if this has a, see, it has like a slightly different template here, right? So that is the reason why you have different templates available. This is a map. Where is it gone? Template hierarchy. Yeah, here. This is a map for our inside WordPress, of course, is using the code to loop through and find out if these files are available. But this is just to give you kind of a mind map. Whenever you're building your site, there are different types of pages. There are archive pages. Archive pages means that, let's say, user want to look at the post based on a certain category, like maybe React. You want to see all the posts related to React. So that is called archive. So category pages. So when user lands on the category page, WordPress is going to follow this hierarchy. It's going to say, okay, what type of page is it? Is it a category page, which is basically archive page? Then it's going to say which type of archive is it? Is it an author archive? Is there a category page written by author? If it is, then it's going to follow this route. Then it's going to say, okay, does this file exist? This is more specific, like for a particular author. Does this file exist? Does this file? So there's different templates you can create. Like if clients say, you know what, for this, but for all authors, I want a different template, but for this particular author, I want a different template. So you can create something like author hyphen the name of the author. then it's only going to choose that page template which you will create here. So you would probably create something like author, let's say Imran.html, like that. And then you will put a different layout for that. Okay, so WordPress will first go as per this hierarchy. If this exists, it's not even going to look at any other. So you might have author.html also, but it's not going to look at that. It'll follow this first. Okay, so basically that's how it works. So the example I gave you was for this one. It's going to look at single page, which is single post page. Let's say a blog. Let's say, where is it, blog? Let's say this blog. So this is a single page of the blog, right? You see, it's the layout is a bit different. It's a bit narrow compared to the width of the content is a bit narrow compared to the other pages. So if I create single.html, that's what WordPress is going to follow. So it'll come over here, say what type of page is it? A single page. What type? Is it like a post page? Yes. So then it moves further. Is it like an attachment post, like a media or something? Is it like a custom post? Is it a blog post? What type of post is it? So it's a blog post. So it'll move further. Then if I want only a particular post to have that kind of file, that kind of layout, I'll use this. And this is how it will progress further. So you can create single post or a single PHP. So depending on what you have created here, and if it's available, it'll follow that hierarchy. And if it doesn't find, like earlier, I didn't have this file, so it was using index.php as a default. So everything will default to index.php if you don't have it. But if you have the previous ones, then it's just going to use that. It won't move further. It won't try to look for other type of file. So this is the template hierarchy of WordPress. This makes our job easier, right? Because then we don't have to define something. We don't have to write like a function or some kind of a rewrite rule that, go and look for that particular file. It has given some basic rules for us, which are generally used on most of the websites. Okay, so now if I had to show you, let's say, which is the latest WordPress theme? Let's take a look. I'll give you a complete theme example so you have an understanding on that. So 2021, 2024, this one, 2025. Let's do this. 2025 theme download. Hopefully I can download from here. Yeah, I'm going to download this. I want to show you the structure of this, which is a finished theme. So here, look at this template. You see the template, the same thing I had, right? I only have index and single. They have everything. They have 404. So in case if user lands onto maybe a page doesn't exist, so 404 layout will be used. Archive, that's for categories. Home, you want the landing page to be different. Index will be your default page template. Page with no title. Page for pages is going to use that. If you have a search, user wants to search a particular post, this layout will be used. Single is what I created for a single post. So these are normally, this is a finished theme. These are normally the type of templates that are there on usually some kind of like a blogging theme. Of course, when you are building other types of categories like WooCommerce and all that, the templating system might be slightly different because it requires a storefront, but concept will be the same. Any other question, guys? Good. Any other question? Okay, guys, all good then. I will share the topic for the next call on the chat, WhatsApp chat. If anybody is interested, I will share the links also. They can go ahead and try this, whatever we have done today. There will also be a recording for this call. I'll upload that on YouTube. And if you want to follow that recording and create your own theme, play around with how I was creating different blocks, if you want to create your own theme, you can do that. It's a free, WordPress is a free software, so you don't need to pay anything. Anybody can use it. Anybody can create all these things. If you want to create it, you want to show it on the next call, you can do that. But in the next session, we'll keep things similar. We'll move forward, and we'll move forward to probably talking about how we're going to create different blocks. So right now, I've only shown you the ready-made blocks that are available, right? But in the real world, client is going to come up with his own design. He's going to say, what, I want this kind of design. So I want the block to look like this. I want block to have this kind of features. So you should know how to build those blocks, because right now, what you only seen the blocks that are given to you by WordPress, right? But you need to also learn how to create your own blocks. And before you learn how to create your own blocks, you need to know how to set up the architecture with your let's say Webpack or Wheat, because you will be using all the modern JavaScript, and of course all browsers won't be able to understand the modern JavaScript. Like if you're using the ES6 or ES Next, modern browser won't be, only modern browser will be able to understand. The older browser won't be able to understand that. So you need to use Babel and to basically transform that file into a code that most browsers can understand. So all those kind of setup, the local development setup, those are things we can cover in the next session, and then we can move on to the blocks.
Cool.
Okay. And these blocks, that are actually going to be built in React. So if you're already familiar with React, that will be easy for you. But if you're not, I'll show you how to do it. So in the WordPress ecosystem, whatever you're seeing in this editor, where we are adding different blocks, this all editor is actually in React. So this is all React blocks. These are not just plain HTML. Okay, so this is a React ecosystem inside this editor that WordPress is using.
Okay.
Cool. If you don't have any further questions, let's meet next week then.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for the great session. And
Sounds
definitely we'll kickstart before next week. I'll spend some time
Yeah.
because it was like I had no idea how
That's
it
okay.
works. So
Yeah.
next week probably we'll come more prepared, inshallah.
Yeah.
So we have better understanding of what's shown.
Sure. And of course, as you can see, we didn't do any coding today, right? We didn't code anything.
Yeah.
Build the entire
Yes.
theme without coding. That was the idea for WordPress, to bring in this full site editing, so that even people don't have much knowledge how to code should be able to build their own theme. So it's like spending more time in the editor adding those blocks than actually coding. But there is more to it. When you actually go for a client, when you're working for a client, you have to code. Right? You need to know how to create these blocks. You need to know how to set up your projects. There'll be customization. They will be asking, I want to make changes in this. I want this to look like this. If you build something, they might come up to you after 10 months saying, you know what, I want to go ahead and make changes to that and add more things or delete more things. So you need to understand the core concepts, how things are working under the hood to be able to make those customizations. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next meeting, next session next week.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for the